Okay, it baffles me that there are movies that are made this year that somehow are so bad, so terrible, that they managed to still make it in the top 100 worst movies of all time on IMDB. And so when one of them came up on Netflix, I felt, hey, I have an obligation to watch it. Oh my God. The Smosh movie. Where do I begin? So we have apparently another movie, because I didn't know that this is actually done, but it makes sense why. But it's another movie that's based off of YouTube people. And so now we got a movie for Smosh channel. In this movie, the two guys, they have a 5-year graduation reunion to go to. Yeah, it's only been 5 years. Do they make reunions only after the first 5 years? But anyway, they have to go there, and one of them, he has a job, while the other one is very immature and still lives with his parents and just watches YouTube videos all day long. Well, the more mature one with a job, he has a girl he wants to impress. But unfortunately, there's a terrible, embarrassing video on YouTube that has about 800 views or so. And so they go to YouTube to delete the video from the internet. But the head of YouTube, who has YouTube for a last name because that's very, very smart, so ingenious, he says he can't delete the video, and so they have to go into YouTube themselves, go through the YouTube channels and find the video and delete it. After seeing this movie, I can understand why it's in the bottom 100 films on IMDb. Now, is it still the worst movie I've seen this year? No, it's not. It's not worse than Hot Pursuit. But I think the reason it's so bad is it's so generic. For one, the two people responsible for Smosh channel, they didn't write this film. So a lot of the jokes don't feel like the same stuff that they do on their channel. Well, there's little glimpses here and there of things that they would do on their channel and on their videos, but not to the over-the-top extent that they usually do, which usually makes them quite funny. And instead, we see scenes where, yeah, it has some of their humor, but it's done so generically that it's been done better in plenty and plenty of other movies. It feels like whoever's responsible for actually writing the script for this movie is just some guy who has no creativity whatsoever. The acting for the two Smosh people, they're pretty good. The fact that they go into YouTube to try to go through videos and try to search for the video, that's kind of interesting. Things like that have been done before in cartoons and other mediums, but it's still kind of interesting. And there are moments here and there of actual intelligent jokes. They're just not funny. That's the main issue with this film. I didn't find it funny whatsoever. I didn't crack a smile, didn't laugh, didn't giggle, didn't chuckle, nothing. Hey, at least I didn't fall asleep like the second time I tried to watch Serena. Yeah, I didn't fall asleep on this movie, but it was very generic and bland and worse than Serena. The YouTube channels that they went through, the YouTube videos, they were so generic, and yes, I guess there were parodies of other real videos, but like I said, there's just something frickin' generic about it that it just is uninteresting. Oh, and then the head of YouTube, that character was so annoying. For one, all he did was penis jokes and really lame ones at that. Actually, to come to think of it, whenever a joke would happen, whenever a setup would happen, I pretty much knew what the punchline was going to be. That's how generic the jokes were. It's like I see them coming a mile away, and so not only are they not funny to begin with, but they're even less funny because I see it coming and I just groan. The CGI is atrocious in this film. And yes, I've seen YouTube channels and YouTube videos out there with better special effects than this movie. And the worst part of this film is that they don't even have a set rules for the time travel / going into YouTube channels. The rules just aren't set, developed, and put into stone. It's like every time you think, oh, this is how it works, suddenly they change the rules and it just feels like complete nonsense. Like, how does them altering a YouTube video somehow change the past? It's never quite explained, and you think, okay, maybe it's some sort of time travel. Like, they can actually, whenever they're in the YouTube video, they're actually going back into time and are able to sort of mess with everything. And if you go, okay, I'll go with that, well then somehow they have control to rewind the video and so it resets. But then there are times where they're totally resetting everything, but it doesn't make sense because the guy, the immature guy, he's in love with this girl on a video and he just calls her the butt massage girl because she's getting a butt massage. Well, he's completely fallen in love with her, and so he has this huge conversation with her as the other friend is trying to go through random channels to try to find the actual video that he wants to alter. So he's like, hey, you're in a... And so when he finds his friend, he's like, hey, you're in a YouTube video. She doesn't actually like you or whatnot. And so he rewinds the video, and then suddenly she doesn't know anything about him. She doesn't know who he is, and so it's like meeting for the first time again. And so it's reset. And so you think, okay, so whenever they actually go into a video, technically they're resetting everything that they've done, right? Isn't that how time travel works in this sort of movie? I mean, that's how it works in that Stephen King movie, well, the Stephen King story, where they're trying to stop the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and that's what the film sets up to be like. But then when they're trying to get back to the portal that takes them out of YouTube, they're going back through the history, their browser history, and going back through the YouTube videos. Well, doesn't that reset everything? Haven't you altered everything so that you just took away everything that you tried to do? Oh, and then the villain's really stupid because there's a moment where they're like, oh, he's deleting our history so we won't get back to the portal. Well, if he has the power to do that, why doesn't he reset or actually delete the first page anyway, the first history setting, or delete all of them at once? Then they'd be trapped in there forever, but they can't because then they wouldn't be able to make it out and there would be no ending for the movie. I don't know, there's so many things that just make me aggravated in this film, but I can't quite give it a 0 because there's some slightly interesting things about it. So when I can think of some sort of good thing that I kind of like about a movie, then it's not a complete disaster and it's not a complete 0. So as much as I hate to say it, I'm going to give the Smosh movie a half a star. It's actually probably worse than Hot Tub Time Machine 2. And I didn't think that could be possible, other than Hot Pursuit. So, did you see the Smosh movie? What did you think about it? Go ahead and comment. And as always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was Just My Opinion.